the aura, and you have an exciting energy. It's very fun to process.
Doesn't that sound a little ominous? But
Oh,
let's do it.
Well, let's start out with thinking about how everybody has stuff in their aura. Like, people are always a mixed bag of very good things and unhelpful things. Like, it's always presenting. So I could start talking about my stuff too.
Right,
Helpful
right.
things, not so helpful things. I'm always working on something. So whatever we can dialogue about, any part of this we chop out, not use later.
Right.
So I want you to feel like you're safe
Hey,
with me.
I'm okay with this, Jeremy.
Okay.
I like knowing I can help you and evolve through it all.
Absolutely. So the main thing I wanted to say is you have an exciting energy. You're such a good explorer. You always bring great questions to our groups and enthusiastic process. And you do aha or wow a lot. Like, something gets in and then you evolve. Your whole being seems to shift. So you like the adventure.
I like knowing that the potential in our channeling classes is like a springboard to a better understanding of me, of my soul growth, of, I don't know, just it's so much bigger than me. And I just thirst for it. It's great.
Excellent.
It's a self-opening that you lead. You get us there. But you're right, it's our aha that comes through. And in that last session, how the group had such individual growth experiences and they all worked together to help each other. Did you feel that? I did.
Yes, it was very dynamic.
Wonderful.
And if things can take off where I just sort of go in the back seat and people are on a high principle conversation and I'm just hanging out and basking in the dynamic, the electricity, I'm as happy as can be.
A good point about that. You're gone when you do the channeling and you come back and you're not the guru on the stage.
Right.
Or, you're just kind of vegging out there.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't there.
Right.
And we take over and build on what we heard.
Yep.
Thank you. I like the way it works.
It's really the ideal is that if the whole group can offer, get excited, and because you're in the room, it tends to turn on. When you're in the room, it tends to turn on. It's more likely. So that's always awesome to have you around. So I really appreciate that too. So it's easy to be generous today. And I'm excited about what I'm doing. It's a creative process, and I need to keep creative process going. So I'm going to pull up the screen share. I have your drawing here, but it might be easier to see details on the screen share. We'll see how that
works. Well, that is busy, isn't it?
Let's see. Okay. So can you see it?
Yes. I'm going to get rid of my shadow here first.
Okay. So what are your first impressions as you're looking at it?
My first impressions are, okay, to me, but maybe that's just because it's my sentiments always, it's joyful. I don't know what's joyful about it, but to me, it's like, oh, bubble, let's do it, whatever that is. Yeah. That's my first impression.
Well, me too. My first impression of you is always this great smile and this should come in the room as a fun, curious person. Right. So the rhythm, the brighter color you see the rhythmic pattern is just, a radiant energy. So I'm putting in the drawing symbols of radiance. I'm using symbols to try and interpret senses in your energy. So this is sort of a new way to interpret
Sure.
compared to what I've been doing. It's a challenge to interpret what I'm picking up on and translate it, because the energy, reality, and words are two different territories. And even a lot of metaphors are different territories. So it's taken many years to develop a way to be useful as I'm watching energy and then sharing. So that's so too. And then any kind of rhythmic energy there that's sort of aligned, like on the left, there's like this rhythmic vertical pattern, sort of radiant. That's very powerful too. So it's energy going out with influence. So you're being influential in this illustration. So there's so many powerful things. And I wanted to portray you for how I experience you, that you have all this great vibe, and then you're often very honest about the internal challenges you have. And everybody's got stuff they're working on. So I wanted to kind of share with you the dynamics I'm seeing here. And I think it's just, I'm left with thinking of you as someone who's working on their stuff, and it's complex, and your story has its own beauty and unique tension. If we could trust tension, is it possible to trust the tension in your life?
There's a reason for it. It's part of the lessons.
Yes, it's not easy to trust tension, but as a guy who does visual things, I putting tension in this piece has interest. It keeps people interested. No different than a story. Telling a story through a novel, you need the protagonist and the hero and the different elements to feel like there's a test. Guess what? Your life is a test. How does that feel for a contextualization of you?
It feels right. I was thinking of that in the physical form. Just the last few days, I was thinking, pain. It's like, so you can appreciate non-pain. And how would you appreciate no pain unless you had a little pain?
Yes.
Man,
Right.
you know where you could be. And so you are so appreciative of where you are.
Yeah. A few years ago, you seemed to be hitting a low
Ooh.
spot with health, and you sort of rallied. It's still not easy, is it?
Oh, but I know where I've been, and I really don't want to go back.
Absolutely.
Gonna
And
keep working on that.
it's been a joy to see you rally. I like, here's Jeannie. This is the person I know. And I'm borrowing from your capacity to appreciate life as if you had a rebirth through that journey.
There
And
were many in this lifetime.
yeah, and I really feel like the way you're presenting is brighter in this, through that hardship. Something about you is gives deeper value to the moment. I really feel that from you. So thanks for bringing it.
So is the white cloudiness on my left side, in the image, the part of the challenges? Yeah, up there.
I mean, this is on the bottom right.
Yes, that's a curiosity.
Right. So this is just an image to try and interpret flows coming in very vigorously on your on the bottom left of your energy field. Like really nice incoming on a fundamental, which is pretty rare actually, to see someone sort of leaning into life and asking life, what's the next adventure? What do I really need to know? So it's a very bottom line kind of questioning, and you have a super open place for it. And when you come to me, you kind of ask for those bottom line questions. So I wanted to share something about an inflow of energy that's coming in that's very powerful and unique to you. So what words would you give to that part of you, that part of you that just is really honestly interested in knowing how to live a good life in practical terms in the days ahead and in purposeful terms?
It really fits how I feel about learning about my spiritual life and how my experiences in this, it's like I ask for the experiences I'm having that are going to help me progress as a part of the whole.
Mhm.
That, I'm not doing this by myself or for myself. Well, of course I'm doing it some or for myself, but
Right.
and part of this came through the channeling and understanding how well we're all connected, and how I feel like, um, if I'm hoping for a transformation on our planet, how can I best help? It's through my interactions, and it's through the world itself. And you know bring it on. Let's get it to happen, because if you don't do it now, you're going to get another chance later.
Mhm. Excellent. Well, this part of you is evolving. So as I draw the image, your energy is subject to change. So I know that completely. So energy is definitely coming in. It's doing more of an S quality and it's going around your aura more than going directly in for the moment, but that's bound to shift.
And why does it do that?
Some days we're more like head on about the nitty gritty, like listening to the details, like what give me it. So it's give it to me straight. And other times we're kind of like not as interested. Maybe,
I need a break.
yeah, those are the days you kind of like pick up the fantasy book and,
I do, yes, or often see the grandkids or something.
right. Yeah, it's a little more entertain self or just being
And
a
I like that.
distraction place. Yes. So think about like we're in a distraction place, energy's kind of hovering around. It's not as straight and direct,
Right.
and
True.
everybody goes through that. I mean, I have my, couple hours I need to do. I watching the latest Star Wars. Um, and
Yes. Yes.
so that's all good. It's very magnificent to have straight energy, and you have a lot of it. So I wanted to acknowledge that. I took sub shots of your energy, and I wanted to
Yeah.
try to give more reference to details. Let's see. So let's go right to the high zone.
Mm.
When you come to our channeling experiences, you're always throwing out a net way out there, asking big questions and willing to process things that aren't very concrete. Like you're
Right.
willing to stretch your brain and try and net in something, and you're willing to even sit with something subtle and incomplete for a moment until it sort of comes into clarity later. So you're willing to do that work. So there's this open quality that I enjoy a lot, and the searching quality. So you have these lines way in the high zone that are sort of a searching line, and that's a unique pattern to you. Not everybody does that as completely as you do. I think your science brain is a curious one. It's not closed mind. The way you do your scientific thinking is very open mind. It's not closed mind.
Right on. Absolutely.
So it's something I know about you, and it's kind of obvious, but it really does present in the energy too.
I can see why, because it's just who I am. I mean, it's
Absolutely,
core
absolutely.
to me. It's the way I approach life.
Yes. So there's the net, and the lines are like almost tangly, but if you stay in that curiosity, it stays in integrity.